Starting chemotherapy can be a really, really scary thing. Marina has been through it not once, but twice.
Welcome to my channel.
You've done lots of videos like this on your channel.
12 things I wish I had known before starting chemo.
What is your first tip?
Communicate with your medical team, so they're going to talk to you about your treatment, and to be clear, is this chemo expected that it will result in hair loss? Because some might just be thinning of the hair, just setting expectations from the beginning. And then the timeline of when should I expect hair to start falling out? I had an aggressive breast cancer. Traditional chemo is used like ANC and then Taxol. For me, it was between 14 and 20 days on each journey. And so also knowing that timeline was really helpful. So again, just managing my expectations. So I knew what it'd feel like when I showered and when I put my head on my pillow to go to bed. I did have long hair the first time I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so I don't remember where I heard it, but it was helpful to cut my hair short before the hair loss. And it just helped me kind of process, I think mainly for after, when hair started to grow back, I had like a new goal. My mind wasn't like, oh, I have to get to long hair right away. It was like, oh, I can get back to that short bob that I cut before losing it. So that was something that was really helpful too. We're just thinking of the hair on our head, which is very important for a lot of us. And that's why it is such a part of the grieving process with treatment. But losing eyebrows and how defining they are to our face is something, and losing eyelashes, and actually something as little as nose hair too, because chemo itself is drying. Plus with no nose hair, you can expect nosebleeds and things like that. So again, knowing that beforehand, that you can expect that. You can use ointment in your nose to help. You can learn to draw on eyebrows, which I just became really good at because it made me feel more normal going out to have eyebrows. I found that I could actually manage the hair loss pretty well. I felt comfortable with that. But eyebrows, I wanted when I went out. So I had a friend that was a makeup artist the first time that taught me how to do my eyebrow makeup because I had no idea. Oh my gosh, there's so many waves that go through being a survivor. And to me, a survivor starts by definition when you're diagnosed. You don't have to wait to claim being a survivor. So being a survivor, it's processing. It's knowing that you can be emotional about losing your hair, and then having a plan that works for you, like a wig or chemo caps. And then once you're comfortable in that plan, I would say, and comfort's different for everybody. But for me, again, knowing how to do like my eyebrows, for example, and feeling more comfortable in my skin during treatment, I actually viewed it as a way of, not that I was trying to make other people feel comfortable, but a way of giving people some hope that they could probably tell I was a cancer patient if I went out bald, but that I still chose to do that. And I still chose to show up to a friend's birthday or to go to dinner with my husband that I was dating at the time, so I kind of chose it as a way of taking some of the power back that we feel like cancer takes from us. The first time I addressed neuropathy with having acupuncture during chemo, it was an option at my cancer center, which was pre-pandemic, and I found to be very helpful. I hadn't done acupuncture before having treatment. This was not something I was experienced with, but I found that it really helped prevent neuropathy. And the second time I was diagnosed, I was told by my oncologist to try icing my hands and feet to help prevent the effects of that, and I did that. So I'd bring a cooler with ice gloves and socks with ice packs, and I would put those on during active infusion, and I do feel like it helped prevent neuropathy from getting worse. I have experienced it still, in some regard, but it helped. It is something I tell people because I don't think it's on the forefront of our mind, but to have a dental check if you can before starting treatment, just to kind of give you a baseline of, a dentist that's monitoring your gums. But you can expect, and my background's dental hygiene, that's why I can kind of speak on it, but you can expect possible mouth sores because the tissue of the mouth is so sensitive. So it's good to have a dry mouth rinse that can be very soothing, and those are going to be alcohol free when you get a gentle one. Also, just keeping up with your regular brushing and gentle flossing, it's all kind of related in our immune system. So it really helps to keep up with that. And then as far as teeth sensitivity, I mentioned that in what I consider my viral video on my YouTube channel, but it was unexpected that my teeth would be sensitive, and I can't even explain to you exactly why, but I did experience that. So pay attention to that. And if you need to, use a sensitivity toothpaste and continue with your oral care just to stay on top of that. More and more women, unfortunately, are being diagnosed earlier with breast cancer. So it's really important for women to talk with their team about if chemo can cause infertility, and if there's a possibility it can, what can they do to protect their ovaries to have kids after. I was given two options: one, doing fertility treatment, basically collecting eggs before treatment, or doing an injection called Zoladex, which would put you into forced menopause and potentially protect your ovaries from chemo, the effects of it, and then allow you to have kids after. So doing the eggs is a timely thing, and typically if they're trying to get, cancer cells, get rid of them, they're going to want you to start treatment. So doing Zoladex was the best option. Every 4 weeks, it was an injection. For me, I can say that it worked. So although the idea of getting another injection was not pleasant, it did work, and I was able to have 2 kids after chemo. Probably one of the most common side effects is nausea. So typically they'll prepare you with prescribing medications that you'll get filled before. So you'll have those on hand that you either take before your appointment or after. And then at infusion, they'll give you a pre-med of anti-nausea in your infusion. So knowing that and asking about it is good. You want to stay ahead of nausea, because once it sets in, it's hard to get rid of. It'd be like getting dizzy and now you're trying to get rid of it. So being informed, am I taking this at home ahead of time, or is it being infused? And then I used other natural aids to help. I chose to take some ginger chews with me, since ginger is a natural anti-nausea product, so I literally took dried ginger that you could get in the bulk at your local farmer's market or grocery store. I also wore wristbands that you might wear on a cruise ship if you're prone to seasickness. I just figured anything additional I could do to prevent it that wasn't another medication would be helpful. So I wore wristbands, and I'd wear them the day of infusion all the way until the next day. And I do think maybe it's a mental thing, maybe it's a placebo, but I do believe that it did help me. I think fatigue is one that you'll notice the most, and it's very interesting the way it comes on. It's because it can really hit you the day of an infusion. I think it's even just from being, the stress of being at a cancer center and all the things you've been given that day. But then you might start to feel better because of steroids they give you. And then once that kind of regimen's done, midweek you feel this lull again before you feel better and go back. So kind of learning what I call the wave of fatigue is good, because then you can plan around that. You can plan, these are the days that I want to maybe run errands. This is the day that I want to schedule the most, work if I'm still working. So learning that wave of fatigue was important. And then chemo brain is real. Again, kind of sets in almost like the hair loss. It could take a couple weeks, and you just start to notice this fog. I felt like it got worse when my metabolism was working. So after lunch fatigue, like if you normally feel a little sleepy after lunch, your chemo brain after lunch. So again, that would not be an ideal time to be making decisions. Or if you have children, you would want, a grandparent or a friend or somebody helping you during that time of fatigue and chemo brain. You will not feel that like that all day, every day, and it's the most intense during treatment, and it will improve when treatment's done, and it can take up to a solid year of understanding what your new baseline is. I don't really like to say normal, because nothing's really normal again, but your new baseline, and then go from there. Things that I do feel like help all of this is staying hydrated. We probably hear it a lot, as people and then now as patients, but staying hydrated and movement tend to help. So if I could get up and do a morning walk or an afternoon walk, that movement would help a lot. My essentials were definitely the ice gloves and the ice socks to cool my hands and feet, because the effects of neuropathy are real. They can be very unpleasant, and if you can prevent that, it's great. And I would just take a lunchbox cooler, nothing big, but enough for those and one refill pack, since I was receiving 2 hours of infusion. So that, and an eye mask. Typically in a cancer center, it might just be one big room. You might have little dividers. It's not common that you'll get your own private room. So having an eye mask was so nice to put that on and relax and just kind of dim the lights. And that leads into my next one, which would definitely be some kind of headphones, whether it's your AirPods or your over the ear, but I think that's great for music, meditation, watching your favorite show, whatever it is, but having that was definitely essential. It's so important to remember in this process that you are not alone. You might feel alone in your journey you're going through, but I really leaned into the people that could help me, family and friends. And I really leaned into the people that I would see every day at these appointments, like the nurses, and have conversations with them. They might have tips for you, or even just kind of flipping it and asking them how their day was, or what's their favorite show they're watching, or their favorite book they're reading. Just connecting with people through this process. When you feel less alone, it's a light at the end of the tunnel. It gives you hope.